Section 6. The Higher Dimensions of the Universe. Now we move on to the 7th dimension and beyond. In addition to all the qualities of the 6th dimension, the 7th dimension is characterized by the element of altruism. Inhabitants of dimensions below the 7th still live in a very self-focused way, which is not a negative reflection on them, but a simple observation. Even those who live in the 6th dimension, while very advanced, are still striving to absorb as much of the truths as possible for their own spiritual improvement and growth. They, and all the inhabitants of the dimensions below them, are like students who haven't yet completed their formal education. To extend this analogy, inhabitants of the 6th dimension are like university students. Those in the 5th are like high school students, and those in the 4th dimension are like middle school students, while we in the 3rd dimension are in elementary school. When people are admitted to the 7th dimension, their education is complete. They have become fully aware members of society. In this dimension, their hearts are filled with love toward others, and all their deeds are based on selfless service. Inhabitants of the 7th dimension are always giving love to each other, but they are also actively instructing and guiding residents of lower dimensions, especially the 4th dimension, where inhabitants have not yet fully realized that they are spiritual beings and are in search of salvation through goodness. Finally, some spirits of the 7th dimension choose to reincarnate in human form in the 3rd dimension, so that they may give their love and service for the benefit of all beings living on Earth. In the 8th dimension, compassion is added to the 7 prior elements. Compassion is the desire to give unconditional mercy, and these higher sacred beings offer it freely without reservation or distinction. While the love of the 7th dimension could be called a love that gives, the even higher love of the 8th dimension could be described as a love that gives inexhaustibly or without limit. The love of the 7th dimension can be achieved by human endeavor. The spirits here share with others the love that they themselves have accumulated through effort. In comparison, the love of the 8th dimension is never-ending, much like the sun. It is true compassion. Inhabitants of the 7th dimension give their love to specific people and give different amounts of love to different people. By contrast, the love of the 8th dimension is absolutely fair and selfless. It is so magnanimous that it has transcended any human notion of partiality and is given freely to all. It is because they provide all beings with this unlimited love that inhabitants of the 8th dimension deserve to be honored as great leaders. The framework of the 9th dimension includes a new element I call cosmic universality. In the 8th dimension and below, inhabitants live within the multi-layered structure of planet Earth's spiritual field. The 9th dimension, however, reaches beyond Earth's spiritual field, connecting it to the spirit worlds of other planets beyond our solar system. So the inhabitants of the 9th dimension guide the Earth's spirit group based on an awareness of and involvement in spiritual evolution on a larger scale, as part of the greater cosmic universe. The deities of the world religions, who have been considered the source of the laws, inhabit this 9th dimension. The only aspect that distinguishes these gods from one another is their unique color of light, each of which is considered the source of the laws. The laws themselves ultimately come from one source, Buddha's laws, but the different 9th dimensional spirits express them differently in 7 unique colors. Beyond the 9th dimension lies the highest level of Earth's spirit group, the 10th dimension. None of the inhabitants in this realm are ever born as humans on Earth. They have no human character. In fact, there are only 3 spirits in the 10th dimension who exist as separate consciousnesses. These 3 inhabitants of the 10th dimension possess the compassion of the 8th dimension and the universality of the 9th, and they also take on roles in creation and evolution. The sole differences between these 3 consciousnesses lie in their different responsibilities in the process of creation and evolution. They no longer have the unique human personalities that are found in lower dimensions. The three consciousnesses of the 10th dimension are Sun consciousness, Moon consciousness, and Earth consciousness. The Sun consciousness governs the will of the positive and active forces at work in all living creatures on Earth, including humans. The Moon consciousness governs the feminine elements of restraint, elegance, and grace. And Earth consciousness is the life force within the planet itself, responsible for the creation of everything on Earth. The work of these three great planetary consciousnesses has shaped everything that has happened in the 4.6 billion year history of our planet Earth. The multidimensional world within Earth's system ends with the 10th dimension. Beyond that lies the 11th dimension, which is part of the multidimensional structure of the solar system. The structural element of this 11th dimension is known as the mission of the solar system. The life force, or spirit body of our sun, is an example of 11th dimensional existence. Beyond this lies the galactic consciousness of the 12th dimension, an unfathomably large spirit responsible for our galaxy. The spirit governs countless 11th dimensional stellar consciousnesses, including that of our own sun. It is almost impossible to describe what lies beyond the 12th dimension in a way that I've done with the worlds that exist within Earth's multidimensional territory. But I can say that the primordial Buddha of the greater universe, whom we call primordial God and is the ultimate spiritual entity, most likely exists beyond the 20th dimension. In the next section, I will give you a glimpse into the higher worlds of the multidimensional universe that exists beyond our solar system.